know there'll always be a honky-tonk in Texas. And from the dance floor you will hear twin fiddles play. At last call there'll be a jukebox in the corner, playing He Stopped Loving Her Today.
Wow, you know what that music means? It's the long-awaited return of Curt Ryle's Road Stories. I wasn't sure we were ever going to get back to this point, but
I wasn't either, Brent. You know, it's been a rough couple of weeks for me, man. I had to go to Oklahoma, and and I had a wreck. You know, last week we were going to do this, and somebody ran into my Corvette. Can you believe that?
That's shameful.
Right into it, man.
That's shameful. What's the latest on that?
Well, the guy's coming to fix it tomorrow, and he's a body guy. The guy that ran into me, thank God.
Well, that's fortunate.
Yeah. So, but he didn't see me. He had a big truck, and it was full of stuff. And he decided he was in the left lane. We were sitting at a red light, and I was behind him. He decided he wanted to go right, so he was going to back up, and he just didn't see me because I'm down low in that Corvette, and he just plowed right into me before I had a chance to even react. You know.
Usually, anytime I get hit by anybody, it's an uninsured ne'er-do-well. So if you get hit by a body, man, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. I didn't even make him turn it into his insurance. I said, well, you come fix it. And he said he would. What I did is I just said, okay, give me $300 until you come, and I'll give it back to you. And he did. So I know he'll come because I don't think the damage is much more than that, you know.
And if not, we'll just get on here and publicly shame him. How about that?
Right. That's exactly right.
One way or another. So what's the latest here with Clarksville Creative Sound?
Well, good things are happening. We got the awards, Josie Awards, coming up next month.
Yes.
And I think every artist on the label is going to be here. And so we're going to have a big photo shoot. We're going to probably do a big signing thing where we sign every artist to the label and get it all done, you know, contractually, and get all of that stuff. Everybody wants to do it, and so we put it off. And now we got this thing going with this TV cable network, and that's going to be huge. I don't want to get too far into that, but somebody said Kurt's too old to drive. Now that's just not nice. Whoever said that, but I'm just kidding. I don't know who it is. It's just a Facebook user. But anyway,
yeah, we sounds like that maybe a Steve Markwart comment right there.
It is. He said, "LOL, Steve." Should have known. Anyway, yeah, it's been we got some good things coming, Brent, and you're going to be right in the middle of all that stuff. I can tell you, as you already know. And so we got the awards coming up. I got Brian Moon coming in here from Canada to record his album in early next month, and then the awards are later. So good things are happening, man.
I love it. And of course, tonight we want to talk about one of the artists who is on the label, one of the originators from day one here.
Well, you know, we usually talk about some of the bigger the artists that I worked with that most people are familiar with. They've seen them on the radio, whether it's Chris Stapleton or George Jones or Vern Gosdin. They'll tell us, and we talk about a lot of them. But you know, this particular artist we're going to talk about tonight is truly a big star. She is an internet phenomenon with literally millions and millions of viewers. She's been in movies. I mean, this kid is, she's done just about everything, and she's 17 years old. And I was thinking about this today when I was getting ready to put together Road Stories. I thought, you know, I'm going to talk about somebody that's big that we don't talk about a lot. And of course, I'm talking about Jaden Riley. And we are so happy and fortunate to have Jaden with us here at Clarksville Creative Sound. And so we're going to talk about Jaden tonight and tell some things that maybe our audience doesn't know about her.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, she has blown it up on social media. I was just looking earlier on YouTube, 407,000 subscribers. That's pretty amazing for 17 years old.
She's got songs out there, Brent, that are 48, 50 million views.
Right.
That's bigger than most of the major labels. I've looked at views from people who are on Big Machine or Universal. Her numbers, in many cases, outnumber them, and so she may not be on every radio station, but I will tell you this: when people get in their car and they're driving, I discovered this with Braden on this last trip. You don't ever listen to the radio. These kids stream music from YouTube and social media platforms like that, and all the way to Oklahoma, I heard every artist from the Eagles to indie artists. It was amazing the stuff that Braden listens to, and I just kind of sat back and enjoyed it. It was actually fun, and Jaden, I'm sure, is probably one of those artists that people stream through their radios a lot. And so tonight, I'm really excited to talk about Jaden.
Well, I guess a good place to start is the beginning here. You know, you have known her since she was just a young girl, like 6 or 7 years old. How did you how did you find her? How did she get on your radar?
Well, it's funny, Brent. It's been so long ago. Some of the details are a little vague. I think Tara and Colin and Jaden are on here with us and tonight, and I hope if whatever I screw up here, they'll fix. But here's what I remember, Brent. The first time I ever heard Jaden, I was kind of scrolling through YouTube and looking at old songs, and I run across an old Simon and Garfunkel song called "Sound of Silence." And here's this little kid, this little 6, 7-year-old kid, and I clicked on it, and that was the first time I ever heard Jaden sing. And it was funny because when I first clicked on it, and this little girl started singing, she had me right in the palm of her hand, right off the bat. Normally, I would just move on and click off of it and go on, but I kept watching this little girl sing, and I remember I started getting chills. It started putting chills on me, and it takes an awful lot because I'm into music so much that it takes a lot to get me that excited about something where it really moves my soul. And I remember that day, I must have listened to that video 10 times. I just kept going back to it and listening and watching this little kid that really had never, you could tell that she hadn't been in front of a camera very much in her young life. And I knew I had to somehow reach out to this child. I don't remember how we did it. I don't remember how I ended up with her, but she ended up coming here. And I'm sure it was because I was trying to get somebody out there to tell me how do I get a hold of this child? I want to get her in the studio really bad. And she ended up coming here. And Brent, it was amazing. I'll never forget. The first time they walked in the door, and here comes these parents with this little bitty girl, and it was just the cutest thing I've ever seen. And I kept thinking, this is how I know there's a God. Only God could take a little package like that and put this big, powerful voice inside of it. And I just remember thinking to myself, my Lord, this is amazing. But I got her in here and we talked a little bit, and I asked her, I said, Jaden, tell me about your dreams. Tell me about, I said, what do you like and what do you not like, and who are your favorite artists? Of course, she loved Taylor Swift, and she named some others too. But I asked her, I said, have you ever tried to write anything? And I remember she said, Mr. Curt, I'm only 7 years old. And I still laugh when I think about it. And, I told her, I said, well, we could still write together. And she said, well, how would you start? How do you start? And, she was just this cute little innocent little girl. And so I grabbed a guitar and I said, well, here's what we're going to do. You're going to tell me a story and I'm going to put music to it. And she said, well, I don't know any good stories. I said, well, tell me about school. What's it like in school? And so she told me, first thing out of her mouth, I'll never forget, she said, I don't like bullies, and bam, I knew we had something to work with. And I said, okay, I don't like bullies either. And I said, have you been bullied in school? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, why do you think they bully you? And she said, I don't know, maybe I'm different. And I said, maybe it's because you got a great voice and you can sing really well and they're jealous of you. I said, that happens an awful lot. And she kind of smiled about that because she never thought about that. And I told her, I said, you know, kids can be envious of things like that. And so she was pretty fascinated with this whole thing. So we actually wrote 2 songs that day, Brent, and one of them was called Beaches of Tofino. I think that was the very first song that we ever wrote together. And the second one was Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover. Those 2 songs were the very first 2 songs that we had ever done. Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover was written about the bullying. You know, all of the bullying things that went on. She told me about some things. And so I listened to everything she said, and I just basically put music to her words, you know, and just made them rhyme. But she actually played a huge role in the writing of these songs. And when we wrote Beaches of Tofino, I told her, I said, the way that started was I said, let's write something about your country, Canada. I said, are there some really cool places there in Canada? And she said, well, there's like the Beaches of Tofino. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what that is, but what a title. You know, Beaches of Tofino. Think of that. And then she started telling me about other things like the Dempster Highway, which is this very famous, kind of like our Route 66, you know. And so she was just telling me all these things about Canada. And we wrote those 2 songs, and they just turned out amazing. And I was so pleased with it. And I'll never forget, Brett, you know, and you can stop me at any time you want to play one of these songs. You just go for it, buddy.
Well, I was going to tell you, I've got Beaches of Tofino queued up here if you want to finish that thought, and we'll roll it.
Well, let me tell you about when we did Beaches of Tofino. I didn't really know what it was. It's not in Canada. I think it's in Tara and Colin and Jade, and you're on here with us. You can probably help us out here, but I think it's like Columbia, British
Columbia.
Yeah, I think that's where it is. And I pulled up pictures of it, and it didn't look like ocean. It looked more like a big freshwater lake with trees and stuff all around the place. But it was ocean. It was just the inland. And so what we did was we drove to Kentucky, and we found a lake up there called Barkley Lake.
Right.
And when we pulled up, have you ever been there, Brent?
Yeah.
It's a very cool place. And when we pulled up there, it reminded me an awful lot of that picture I saw of Beaches of Tofino. It had the same trees and beautiful scenery around it. And I remember saying, there's Beaches of Tofino. We're going to shoot this video right there. And that's exactly what we did. And of course, there's a line in that song about a banana split or something like that. I think it was a banana split. And so we had to stop and buy one and on the way up there. And then we had to try to keep it somewhat frozen. And here it's 90 degrees outside, and we're out there in the hot sun. So we had this banana split, and that thing was getting really mushy. So we had to shoot that scene pretty quick. But yeah, just if you want to play that song and let our listeners view this will take you back. This was the very first time that Braden was ever in a video that he didn't sing in. He just was in the video as an actor, and those kids loved each other. You know, they just were drawn to each other instantly. And so she wanted him in that video, and he wanted to be in it. And I'm glad we put him in there because it just made the whole thing real. And so I'll let you. Oh, it was somebody said hot fudge sundae. It was a hot fudge sundae. So that's the word that. And so we had to buy a hot fudge sundae and take it to the beach and keep that thing from totally melting before we shot the scene. So, but yeah, go ahead, Brent. Take over.
Well, enjoy this like a hot fudge sundae. Here's Beaches of Tofino.
I saw you standing on the beach. You were on vacation from Tennessee. I looked at you and you looked at me, and we became best friends. We rode the waves on a boogie board, then built sand castles on the sandy shore. You made me feel like feathers in the wind. Oh, I was higher than the tides of the Bay of Fundy, sitting on the
What a sweet little song.
You know, that just makes me smile, Brent, when I see that video. It never gets old.
Man.
There's something about that is just simply magic. And it wasn't one of her bigger, uh, videos out there. You would think that it would have just hit millions right off the bat because most everything she does really does go into the millions. But it's one of the most more talked about videos that she's ever done. I've had people write songs about that song and send to me and say, here's an answer to Beaches of Tofino. Do you think Braden and Jaden would record it? You would be shocked at the people that have gone out there and actually recorded the song and put it out. And it's fun sometimes to go out there and hear other little kids singing this song. And so it made an impact.
That's awesome. And you look at 2017, that seems like yesterday, but look how much has changed since then, man.
Can you believe that? That you're right. How long has that been? Oh my gosh. That's 6 years ago. It's hard to believe. It seems like it's longer than that, but anyway, you know, it's amazing what that song did. But that song was not anything in comparison to the other song. It was the other song, Brent, that really, really touched people's lives, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. You know, when we wrote the anti-bullying thing, you know, don't judge a book by its cover. What I did was I went into the studio that day, and Tara's on here. Tara says we kept that danged ice cream in this cooler for 4 hours trying to keep it from melting. It's amazing we kept it that long. But anyway, the day we did Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover, I just went in the studio and put a couple of guitars down, and I said, you know, I just want to get Jaden to sing this thing. And you know, I got her in there, and she started singing. And you know, I just kind of closed my my eyes, Brent, because the voice coming through the speakers, I didn't look at her. I just kind of like just laid my head down toward the console and I just closed my eyes and just listened to this voice coming through the speakers. And it was mesmerizing. It was almost angelic in a way. And I felt like I was listening to a much older person, you know, somebody much more mature. And I'll never forget, I listened to that song when she sang it. And normally I would stop it and do things, but I just was so taken by her that I just wanted to hear her sing the whole thing. And I thought, we'll just go back and fix anything later. We'll you know, figure out a way to make this thing perfect. But I'll never forget, I was so taken by her voice, and I just had my eyes closed. And then all of a sudden, when the song ended, I was just sitting there thinking about what I had just heard, and I could feel this pulling on my shirt, you know, like, and I opened my eyes, and there stood little Jaden Riley, you know, and she said, Mr. Curt, can I go out and play with Braden now? And it was like all these visions I was having of this, you know, much older, more mature person. And I turn around and here's this little, beautiful, gorgeous. There she is right there, Brent. How in the world could you not love that face, man? And she absolutely just, you know, that very day, I adopted that child as my very own. And she was my family. And I told, and you know, we've actually, Colin and Tara and I have had little bickering arguments, nothing major, but little things about, you know, I remember in New York City when they were doing a concert up there, Colin told me, he said, Curt, you spoil her. He told me that. And I said, I can't help it, Colin. I just, you know, and I do, I let her, you know, and sometimes Tara used to get mad at me too, because in the studio, you know, Tara, they didn't have a lot of time here, and I understand why. It was like we needed to really get a lot done, as much done as we could with the small amount of time we had. But you know, Brent, there was something about that child that, you know, I told her, I said, you know, she would say, can we stop and go play now? And I would, every time I would say, yeah. And I made it so that she would work for 30 minutes and I'd let her go play for 30 minutes. It was drive Tara crazy. And Tara's like, Curt, we got to get, and I'm like, honey, we'll get it done. Just trust me, we will. In fact, I'd load them up in the car and we'd go get ice cream. You know, we would just go to the ice cream place and eat ice cream. And I spoiled her really bad, but you know, but her and Braden they're just alike. They're like, you know, those two are like almost the same person. So it was so cool having the two of them together. And I admit I spoiled Braden terribly bad. They spoiled him a whole hell of a lot worse than I spoiled Jaden. Just so you know that. They adopted him the same way, and basically we're really family. And there's absolutely nothing that can divide us, and there's nothing that could ever happen that would ever make me feel different about Tara or Colin or Jaden or the whole family. I thought about this a lot, and there have been times when I thought maybe I should take her to a major label and just let her just sign with somebody. I knew they would take advantage of them. I know how those labels are. I know how they work. And I thought, but I really want what's best for Jaden, whether I'm a part of it or not. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about any of it. And to this day, if she needed to go and sign with a label that didn't have that I was not involved in any way, I would be pushing her to do it because I just love her and I want what's best for her. And so, but we really had a lot of fun. And real quick, I just want to tell you this, Brent. When we did that song, "Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover," and we put that out on a video, that if you for all of you people out there that have not heard this video, "Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover," I urge you to go out and listen to it on YouTube. Go pull it up and listen to it, and watch this little girl mesmerize her audience with this song. And it was one of those songs, Brand, about bullying, and so it's a very heartfelt song. And I've never told Jaden this, or Tara or Colin, but I'm going to tell it right now. Every time I watch that video, every time, and at the end of it, she comes out and she starts talking and she says, "Hi, this is Jaden. And if you've been bullied, it's not right." Every time I see that, I literally cry. I'm not ashamed to say, I cry. I have tears that run down my face. There's something about this child that is different from anybody that I know. She's just a gift from God, and I love her. And I love her so much that last time she was here. And by the way, Brent, I want to tell you that we had kids coming on posting at the end of that video, "Don't judge a book by its cover." And I don't know how many kids there were, but there were a lot that come on and said, "I was thinking about committing suicide till I heard this song." So the way I look at it is that Jaden has possibly saved lives with this song. For people who think music is not important, they think it's not powerful, let me tell you something. It's the most powerful thing on earth. And it's more powerful than a sermon from a great preacher. It truly is. It can touch people's lives. And there were multiple children who had watched that video who said, I thought about committing suicide, but I thought twice about it. I think now that maybe I could do this. She gave them hope in the song. And so I just, that song has millions of views, Brent. And that song resonated where Beaches at Tofino got a lot of views. A lot of people liked it, but it didn't touch people like that song did. And the only original song that Jaden has done that has outnumbered that one is "Only You." Braden did a duet on "Only You," and it's not easy to get original songs to draw those kind of numbers. People like it when they hear an old Simon and Garfunkel song, or they hear "Stairway to Heaven." Of course they know the song and they love it, and so they go out there and they listen to it a lot of times. But an original song is different, and Jaden has proven that she's a star. She's proven that she's worthy of being on major radio by being able to pull those kind of numbers in on an original song.
Right.
And so I just want to say another thing about Jaden. The last time she was here, and when we talk about us being family, she told me that she was thinking about going to college. She's 17 now, and she told me she was thinking about going to college. And I said, "Okay, what college are we looking at?" And she said, "Well, one of my friends was telling me about Berkeley College in California." And I remember I sat her down and I said, "There's no way in hell you're going to Berkeley College. It ain't going to happen." I said, "I'm just telling you, Jaden." I said, you can go you can do whatever you want to do. But I said, I refuse to let you go to Berkeley College. I will not allow it, period. And she said, well, what do you think I should do? I said, why don't you come to Nashville? And I said, look, we got great colleges here. We got Vanderbilt, we got Belmont, and so we got some really nice places. And I said, besides that, you'll get to drive a Corvette because I'm going to give you that Corvette if you come here and go to school.
Maybe a little smashed up now, but
she's on here right now. She knows I'm not lying. She knows I'm going to give it to her. And I know Colin and Tara are throwing a fit right now. I know they don't want her to have it. I don't care. You know, if she comes here, she's with me. Then she, you know, and I taught Jaden how to drive, Brent. I taught her right here in this neighborhood how to drive a car, and she scared the living crap out of me and Tara once by almost running into a car. But, you know, I know that she can drive that. She said, you're not giving her the Corvette. Yes, I am. And Jaden, if you go to college here, honey, that Corvette is yours. And you also have family around you to take care of you. But, you know, it's really cool that, and she promised me she wouldn't go to Berkeley. So that settles that. And that's a done deal. We're not going to talk about that anymore. And so anyway, I'm hoping that she will come here and go to school. And because I think Jaden should be here where, you know, we're filming TV shows, we're doing concerts, the studio's here. She's got to come in the studio. She's got a lot of work here. She can't do that stuff out in another place like California. And I told Braden the same thing. You know, he was talking about going to just a UT Knoxville. And I said, nope, too far. You can't do it, buddy. I need you here. I need you here where you can be in the studio when I need you to, or if we got TV. You know, and they're good kids and they don't argue about it. You know, he said, okay, Dad, okay, that's, if you feel that strongly about it, I do. And so, anyway, I'm really happy that, you know, hopefully Jaden will come here and go to school. And, but yeah, I'm proud of her, you know, and I'm really proud of the music that we've done together. We spent a lot of time in the studio writing together and recording. And, you know, Jaden is getting up to an age now where it's not like it once was. Now she's an adult. And so I have to push her a little harder now than I used to when she was little, you know. So, but she's a good sport and she's a hard worker and she's a hell of a singer. And she doesn't spend a lot of time behind that mic anyway. So, you know, she can get things done in half the time that most people would take to do it. So.
Right. I know we talked before about, you know, some of her more recent stuff had more of a pop bent to it, but with what you've been working on in the studio recently, you're trying to steer toward more of a traditional country type sound. How is that working, and what can we expect on the horizon for her?
Well, I when I got the idea to do this, I didn't just sit down and talk to Jaden about it. I just waited till she came. And once we got her here in the studio, I just played the songs for her. And I thought, you know what? I think she's going to, the songs were fabulous songs. And I mean, some of the best stuff that I've got. And the truth of the matter is we need her to go a little more country. You're right, Brent. The last 3 or 4 things we've done on her have been pretty pop and, you know, almost out of the country realm. And I just felt like, with the TV show, the thing that we're working on, Steve Marquardt and myself, with this new network, I felt like, you know, we needed to bring her back to country a little bit and kind of back to the beaches of Tofino when we were doing that kind of stuff. And, you know, when Jaden heard the songs and she went in there and sang them, she absolutely loved them. And it's very cool because this is the very first time in her career that you'll ever hear steel guitar on her music. Awesome stuff. It's got mandolin, it's got dobro, fiddle, really cool stuff. Now, it's not real old traditional country 4/4 shuffle Western swing. It's nothing like that, but it's really, really good. It's rootsy. Some of it reminds me a little bit of the old Dixie Chicks when they were in their prime before they lost their marbles and went crazy. Some of it reminds me a little bit of that. Some of it reminds me of Miranda Lambert. So Jaden, I think, is going to do extremely well with this new thing that we're doing on. Have you heard any of it, Brent?
I have not heard any of it. I'm looking forward to it.
I was going to send that to you, and I was afraid you'd play it on the air. We hadn't had it coded yet. It's all coded now, so we can actually, I'll send it to you. We can't just play all of it just yet. We're about to release a new single. In fact, I'm going to be talking to Jaden here in just a little bit on the phone, and we're going to, I think we're going to release, I think I know the song we're going to release, and we're going to try to get a little video done on this thing. So I will get that to you probably today or, tomorrow sometime.
Now, in front of God and all these people, you got to know I'm not going to play anything before it's time. So,
oh, I know that.
Good.
I know that, but it's really going to be hard not to. If you hear the stuff, you're going to want to, because it's really, really good. And Jaden, of course, is an excellent harmony singer, so she does all of her own harmonies, and she's got these stacked harmonies, and it's just beautiful, man. And so I'm pretty happy with it, and I think she's excited about it too. And I think now, we can get her on this TV thing with all the other artists, because it is a country music network. And, so we have to, and that's it right there. It's American Country Network. I think it's safe for us to talk about this now. It's pretty much a done deal. And Steve and I are really excited about this new network, and Tommy Snyder and all the people that come with this network. Steve has bought into the network. He's bought stock in the network. And so good things are about to happen. They're going to do this big grand opening. And they're going to talk about all this. So I don't want to give away anymore, but because of this, I think this is the best way for Jada to go. And I think she's going to do well. And besides, I didn't want her in that pop culture out there in California. I'm trying to keep her away from that, as much as I can. And so we'll see how this plays out.
I love it. And I don't know who's new jumping in here or not, but I know one we've shared on the show before, and you mentioned Braden a number of times. Love Just Flashed.
Yeah. Well, that video has sure made a lot of noise. That's up for video of the year, I think, at the Josie's this year. And everything Braden and Jaden does, Jaden has recorded with a lot of other people and has done very, very well. And so is Braden. But, when those two get together, there's something magic in the air. It's like people are kind of excited about it. You can sense that, and they do well. So that video, we don't have anything new coming out on those two, and we might not for a while, but eventually the fans are going to want to hear it, and we probably will. But that particular song was just one that I wrote the thing, and it just kind of sat here for a long time, and I didn't know what to do with it. And when we were looking for a great duet song, there it was, and it just turned out great. And they were great actors in that too.
Well, I've got this one queued up if we want to share it here before we get on out of here tonight. I know people always enjoy checking it out.
Yeah, which one is it?
Love Just Flashed.
Oh yeah, man, that's a good one.
Here we go. Maybe.
I see you rummage through your clothes. Where you're going, I don't know. In disbelief, I watch you pack. It wasn't just a dream last night. We really had an awful fight, and I said things I can't take back. But I thought only you would always last. Our love just flashed before my eyes. I saw us laugh, I saw us cry. I saw us live like there was no tomorrow. I saw us walking hand in hand. I saw us loving in the sand. I can't believe it's taking its last breath of life. Love just flashed before my eyes.
Love just flashed before my eyes. I saw moments from our past, the ring you gave me when I asked if you would love me till the end. Mama cried and Daddy smiled as you walked me down the aisle. I said I do to my best friend. Could we just go back there again? Our love just flashed before my eyes. I saw us laugh, I saw us cry, I saw us live like there was no tomorrow. I saw us walking hand in hand, I saw us laughing in the sand. I can't believe it's taking its last breath of life. Love just flashed before my eyes. Oh, before you walk away, I've got three things to say. I love you. Love just flashed before my eyes. I saw us laugh, I saw us cry, I saw us live like there was no tomorrow. I saw us walking hand in hand, I saw us loving in the sand. I can't believe it's taking its last breath of life. Love just flashed before my eyes.
Love just flashed before my eyes.
Love just flashed before my eyes.
Well, it's hard to watch that video, man.
A video that took 10 years to make, but worth every bit of it. You know?
Man, those kids, those are two of the best kids you're ever going to meet right there. And I mean, they are good together. They've done so many videos through the years, and all those little film clippings of them when they were young kids. It's very moving video, you know.
Vocals are just ridiculous on that song.
I know, man, and it's fun working with I've said this many times. I believe Clarksville Creative Sound has the best recording artists of any label in Nashville. I really believe that with all my heart. And I've worked with these artists, man. I've worked with all of them through the years, and I'm telling you, man, there's something about these kids that we have on this label, and our older artists are amazing too. We've just got a good stable of recording artists here.
And I think you're just scratching the surface too. And I think this Josie Awards is going to catch a lot of people attention. And I know there's some stuff out at CMA of Texas Awards coming up that'll catch people's attention here. And I think that's just the beginning.
Yeah, and it's so cool to have. Jaden has been through an awful lot of stuff, Brent. A lot of, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but she's had some real creepos out there on the internet, and stalkers and all kinds of stuff, and we've had to deal with a lot of negative things because of her popularity. But she's a strong girl, and in the end, of course, it's all just, most of it's just words on the internet that people, mean cruel people. But Jaden, I can honestly tell you, you're never going to meet anybody like her. She's just got a heart of gold. I love the child, and her and Braden. We've talked many times, Tara and I have, about how can we get these kids to marry each other. They grew up together, and so they're probably more like brother and sister than anything. But we both would love it if they just get married someday. And I don't think it's ever going to happen, but we don't mind dreaming about it, right, Tara? And I know she's on here right now laughing about this too.
Yeah, talk to that guy in there banging the drums right now.
It's funny, but can you hear him?
No, I can.
Well, Braden's in the drum room. He's decided he wants to be a drummer. He's not happy just playing a guitar. He wants to be a drummer too. So now he's in there and he's banging on these drums. And I'm sitting here going, "Good Lord, how do I stop him from doing it?" But if I tell him not to do it, he's just going to want to do it more, right? So I said,
there you go. The one thing we forgot to mention or didn't really get a chance to touch on here with Jaden was her movie career as well.
Jaden is a very gifted actress. She was in a movie with Sean Penn not long ago called Flag Day, and there it is right there. And Jaden really played, and you know, Sean. I think the thing that got Sean to the way he found Jaden was the same way I found Jaden. It was from listening to that Simon and Garfunkel song. He saw that song, and Tara can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right about this. I think he saw her singing that song, and he just fell in love with her, and actually brought her in to be in the movie. And I think he was probably more shocked than anybody at how good she was, even as an actress. And she played a major lead role in that movie. And so we're super proud of Jaden. And you haven't seen the last of Jaden in Hollywood. She's going to be doing a lot more of that, I predict, in the future. So I want to try to get as much stuff recorded on her as I can while I can, because she's going to be hard to get. And we're trying to get, you know, I think it's safe for me to say we're trying to get Dolly Parton right now. We've got, if you guys that just saw the video, Love Just Flashed, the piano player, I know you saw his hands. That's actually was Dolly Parton's record producer playing piano on Jaden's record. And so I called him the other day and I said, we really need Dolly Parton to be in the first episode of this thing with Jaden. And so he's working on that as we speak. And we're hoping that that comes together because we want to have some star power. And so this should be a lot of fun for Jaden too, to get to meet these big artists, you know.
Well, they don't come any bigger than that, that's for sure.
Nope, it sure don't. And she just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, yeah, I mean, Dolly Parton is probably the biggest thing maybe ever in country music. Her longevity has been crazy, and she's still out there doing it.
Right, and really transcended country music too. You know, about the time she crossed over with 9 to 5 and started doing some of that other stuff and getting it on the Tonight Show and everything else. Really.
Her record producer plays piano here on everything we do. I hire him on everything. His name is Dane Bryant. He's an excellent musician.
Nice guy too.
And of course, Dane, you know, he was telling me that when they inducted her in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she wouldn't accept it unless she went out there and started recording some rock music that would make her more eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And so Dane went out there and they teamed up and they started recording with all these, I don't know who all they recorded with, all these big, humongous rock bands. And she's out there doing that right now. That's one of the things she's working on. So yeah, Dolly is never going to retire. She's like me. She's probably going to work forever. But and I wish I could just look a little bit like her, you know, as good as hers, because she still looks like she did when she was 30, you know.
Oh, you're selling yourself short. Come on now.
No, she's Dolly Parton is amazing, and she's going to be around for a long time. And I predict. No, Dina, I'm not going to put the wig on, and don't tempt Brent. Oh my gosh, here we go. That's all it took was one little thing to get. This is a video, and Steve Markford, for you people that are new in here, Steve Markford wanted a girl in his video. So I told him, I said, yeah, I'll get you a girl. So I got under the cover and put one of my wife's wigs on. And I wasn't supposed to come out from under the cover in the video, but I couldn't resist. And I just jerked those covers off and came out with that stupid wig on, as you can see. And I made my eyes look as big as they could. Steve just lost it. And Brent can't play it enough. He thinks
Dina beat me to the punch. I already had my finger on the button there.
I knew you did. Oh, this has been a fun night.
We think you look every bit as good as Dolly Parton. Come on.
Yeah, I look pretty good in that wig, I thought, you know, but nobody else thought so except me. So I'll just leave that. No, it's been a great night, and I don't want to keep everybody on here. We've been on here a long time, but I want to say thank you to all the people.
A lot of people tonight.
Yeah, let's just scroll through here and look at some of the people. We got a girl in here named Megan McCoy. I don't know for sure. I feel like I know Megan because I can see her picture. Most of the people in here, we don't see pictures. It just says Facebook user.
I believe she's tied into the whole Western swing world out
Really?
west. So,
okay, great.
Very cool there. And I saw somebody else mention this was their first time being in here, but it didn't have a name. But if this is your first time, I don't know whether we should apologize or welcome you back, but we hope you come back because we love to.
You never know on Road Stories what you're going to hear, because a lot of times I'll talk about, my years of working with other artists in the music industry, and I've worked with so many of them, and there's a lot of stories to come. And usually, I'll talk about some of the more famous recording artists that everybody has heard on the radio. But I don't know, I just felt like that Jaden Riley is probably about as big as you can get in the internet world, and she's got numbers superior to most artists out there, and I felt like I just had to do this for her. But we're really happy to have all these people here. Megan, thank you for coming and checking us out.
Throws in here that she's the vice president of the Western Swing Society in California. I thought that was the case, but I didn't want to speak out of turn if it wasn't. But that's
awesome, Megan. We got a bunch of Western swing artists on this label, and I'm sure Megan knows about Steve Markward. Steve Markward is my partner in this record company, and of course his Western swing stuff. I think I know he was up for album of the year and all kinds of stuff with that last album we did, and his next one's even going to be better. Saying we got 2 or 3 Western swing artists on the label, and so yeah, there's the great Steve Markward right there. And Megan, if you haven't heard this guy, you need to go check him out. He's amazing. He's got 2 or 3 songs out there on YouTube. One of them's called "Oklahoma's Calling Me," and if you haven't heard that, go check that out. It's a great song. And Steve reminds me an awful lot of the guy that sang with the great Bob Wills, is Leon Roush. He reminds me an awful lot of Leon Roush when he sings. So I think maybe one of the most fun albums that I've ever produced and ever had the privilege of working on was that album by Steve Markward, because Western swing is this really, really fun music. And I grew up playing it in Texas. I'm from Oklahoma, so I grew up playing that stuff, and I can't get enough of it. And we're going to be doing a lot more of that. You'll be hearing it on TV too.
Exciting. Well, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight here, because there's a lot of great folks on here. Maybe everybody's been chomping at the bit, waiting to get back and do another one of these. It's been a little bit.
Well, we're not going to drag it out like this anymore. And I apologize that we missed the last couple of weeks, but sometimes you just can't help it. The last week we were supposed to do it, I was sitting with a wrecked car and police officers all over the place, and I couldn't get home to do this thing. And but we'll try to keep this thing on track. We do it every other week, so we won't do it next Monday, but the following Monday we'll be back in here. We do it 2 times a month, and it's always interesting and fun. And Brent, you bring so much to this thing. It's just I appreciate you doing it with me.
Well, I enjoy it. I always enjoy our time together here. It's a lot of fun. I always learn a lot from you. It's great just to talk music.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, and especially some of the great artists. And next week I may be talking about somebody else out there. I don't know. I could got some stories about Leanne Womack, Chris Stapleton, all these people. We'll talk about some of them, and it's fun to hear some of the things that go on behind the scenes. That's the stuff that people really like, and I like to talk about the crazy things that go on when the camera's not turned on. When we're just in the studio, and so just keep tuning in, and you'll hear some great stories that you'll love, I think.
A comment from Brian Moon says he'll see you soon, and he'd like some ice cream too. So,
well, Brian's coming in to record next month, and he's got some Western swing songs on his project coming up. So we're happy to have Brian on Clarksville Creative Sound, and we'll be releasing some new stuff on him. He also is doing a couple of duets with the great Leona Williams. Leona Williams, I don't have to tell anybody how big she is. She did all those great duets with Merle Haggard, and she is a fixture out there on traditional country radio. And I know, Brent, you play a lot of her stuff. And so she'll be in the studio in a couple of weeks, and I'm really looking forward to Leona coming in. I love working with her.
What a treasure. That's awesome. You put her right up there with Loretta Lynn or Dolly Parton or any of the greats, Patsy Cline, Kitty Wells. You just line them up there. She fits right in that whole.
And boy, what a sweetheart she is. I love just sitting and talking to her and hearing stories from her. And so I'm real excited about Brian bringing her. Brian brought her in here. He was the first one to bring her in here. And now I think Leona likes it here. Well, I may end up signing her to the label if I can get her away from wherever she is. She's just a fabulous artist. So
here we go. Let's get her done.
Well, we want to thank everybody for coming on, and we appreciate it. And tune in to Brent, Rural. Brent, help us out a little bit. Tell us about it.
That's right. Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station, found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. We're around 24/7. We play some ag programming, well as traditional country music, little Western swing, little bluegrass, little Southern rock, some inspirational music. And what we would love for you to put that app on your phone, the Live 365 app, and search Rural Strong Radio and roll us whenever you got the chance to listen to it. We play a lot of independent artists, a lot of Clarksville creative sound artists on there. I know about every time I pull that thing up, Steve Marquardt seems to be rolling on there. So always glad to hear that music on there. So I hope everybody go check that out. Follow us on Facebook at Rural Strong Media. We do a lot of live streams, both in the ag side and the country music side. We've got a lot coming up here. A lot of artists outside of the realm of Clarksville creative sound are dropping albums here this fall, and been trying to line up whenever I get some free time, some music coming up here. As a matter of fact, here's one for you to check out. Charlotte Morris.
Whoa.
She is going to be on Coffee Country and Cody on WSM tomorrow morning, I believe 8:30 Central Time. Is going to be on there with Bill Cody and Charlie Matos and Kelly Sutton. So go check her out. She was supposed to be on my show tomorrow night. I've had to change it because we got some things going on here at the house that I had to postpone it. I'm going to get her on here in a few weeks and get her back. So, hey, Bill Cody gets her in the morning. I was going to have her that evening. So I guess we're moving in the right direction. And if we can do that in the same day, but we'll get Charlotte on there. She's got some great music, so go check her out. I know our friend Alex Miller, who was on American Idol, became a Luke Bryan protege, and he plays more of a traditional country sound out of Kentucky. He's open for Hank Williams Jr. and the Oak Ridge Boys and a bunch of big artists here. He's got a new album coming out, and I was just on with his people this afternoon trying to pin that down. I believe that's going to be Tuesday, October 24th. We're going to have Alex back on the show again. So a lot of stuff going on with those. So hope everybody will check those out. Also, Fort Worth Musical Moments. I know a lot of folks watching this today watch Fort Worth Musical Moments, but if you're not plugged into that, 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 Eastern, every Friday, Steve Marquardt and I get together, and a lot of times we pull Curt into the shenanigans, and who knows who else will get in there, but be watching. We'll be announcing another one of those hopefully tomorrow or Wednesday, but every Friday, we got another show there. We delve into some other music artists and their background. We had Brian Moon on there last week, and we've had quite a few Clarksville artists on. Darren Wright the week before that, and just trying to pull back the curtain a little bit on their careers and give them some publicity. I know I see Carrie Romero on here. We had her on a few weeks ago. As a matter of fact, that was the day that Leona Williams popped in here a couple months ago when she was recording with Brian. So that's a fun show too. I love my time with Steve as well, and it's always good to get so many people who are starting to check these things out every week here and see the value in that. And I think that's something that will translate as we take these to bigger stages here in 2024.
Brent, we appreciate all you do. You play along all of our artists, and we're proud of the artists, and we appreciate all you do for them. And we just ask everybody to go out there and pull these artists up on YouTube and subscribe to their channels. It helps them. It really does, and they love that. Jaden's probably got 400,000. Like you said earlier, she's got so many, but they all are trying to build those social media network things up, and that's the way to do it. So we just ask that you go out there and support our artists, and they're going to be big. They're going to be big soon.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the lifeblood of the independent artist. Go subscribe to all their socials, download their music, and not just the freebie stuff, but make sure you go and they get the paid downloads too, the albums, EPs, whatever they've got out there. And if they've got a little merch store on their website, go grab you a T-shirt or a hat or something. Yeah. Throw a few bucks their way to keep feeding that passion. I think that's important for all.
They work hard, and they're so good at what they do, and they deserve everything we can do to help them. And so we're out there promoting them as much as we can. And I think soon the world is going to see these young artists that we have, and I think they're going to I think they're going to become household names, every one of them. And I really love the one you sent me, Brent. Brent, you have such a great ear for artists. You called me up one day and said, "Hey, I got an artist I think you should sign," and it was this little 16-year-old girl named Evie May, and that's her right there. And if you guys have not heard her new single, it's her first single out on Clarksville Creative Sound. It's called "Knee Deep in a River." Go out on Facebook, pull up Evie May, and listen to "Knee Deep in a River" and subscribe to her channel. She is a phenomenal artist, and I would have never ever got this kid if it hadn't been for Brent. He brought her to me, and she is special.
Well, I tell you what, I hadn't had a chance to talk to you since I heard that song, and the production on that is second to none. It is absolutely incredible, and the vocals are incredible. And I think if that's just the first single on this thing, it's going to open a lot of eyes too. And I have to tell you, she came out with us to Decatur, Illinois, here about a month ago to the Farm Progress show, where she performed on a stage for one of the largest equipment manufacturers in the world. And you're always nervous when you have a situation like that, because I'm putting my name on there, your name on there, her name on there, and you don't
have to worry about Evie though. She's
and I tell you, she just got up there and blew everybody away. The number of people that stopped by to say hi, and it was a very international crowd. I mean, we heard from people from France and Brazil and Argentina and South Africa and different places, in addition to all the people from the States who were listening to that, and the number of people who were stopping and pulling out their phones and taking videos and just hanging around and trying to figure out who that was. That was pretty cool.
She's a little bombshell, and she's an Energizer bunny, and she's really good in front of an audience, and I love this kid. She's going to go far, man. I'm telling you.
And they had her on about a 40-foot tall video wall, and it was pretty cool to see. And
sorry I missed that.
Playing that music all throughout the whole show. It was pretty cool to see. So she did Clarksville Creative Sound proud. So cool to see. And man, I'm so high on all the artists on this label. I don't want to single out just one, because there's so many awesome artists here, and they all bring something different to the table. That's the cool thing. I mean, there's no two artists that are really alike on the label.
And they're all different, and there's no competition on this label. That's what I like. What I like about these artists is they go out there and really promote each other. They help each other. There's not any competition where, well, this one's got that, this one's got that. It's not like that. They really love each other, and it's like a family. And if I bring anybody on this label that doesn't fit into that family, they're just not going to be here very long, because that's what we're all about. And I want to keep that. That's important. So Evie fits in so well with this label, and so I can't wait for all of these artists haven't not all met, but they're all going to meet at the Josie Awards next month, and that's going to be a fun day.
That's going to be here before you know it, here in a few weeks. So be listening to more for that. Here we may do more on that before that time.
That is at the Grand Ole Opry too, by the way. That's premier awards, indie awards event in the world, really. And so looking forward to that.
I tell you, that's a pretty amazing story in and of itself, to watch how that thing has grown from a young lady who was just a young girl herself when she started that whole deal, and recognized nobody was really paying homage to independent artists, and that thing has blown up to where she's had it at the Opry, she's had it at Dollywood, she's had it at Nissan Stadium. I mean,
we're talking about Josie Passantino. I think I'm saying her name right. She's just a young girl, and she's done this on her own, and it's just incredible. Now she's at the Grand Ole Opry, and I was there at the awards last year. Braden won Young Male Vocalist of the Year, and it was packed. Yeah. You couldn't get in there, Brand. It was completely packed. There was not one empty seat.
It's phenomenal. Hopefully we can finagle her on one of these shows to talk about that one of these days. I think that would be neat, and certainly we will recap all of that later on in October as those happen, and hopefully we'll be hauling home a lot of hardware.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're not going to keep them on here any longer. You guys, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you staying this late with us, and we'll be doing this again week after next.
Absolutely. We'll be here 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and another Curt Ryle Road Story. So for Curt Ryle, it's Brent Adams. we'll see you again for another Curt Ryle Road Stories. Good night, everybody.
Oh, there'll always be a honky tonk in Texas. And from the dance floor you will hear twin fiddles play. And last call there'll be a jukebox in the corner, playing He Stopped Loving Her Today.